My name is Thomas Howell. I'm here on behalf of the MMC and New Line Cage Fighting. Today with me, Lucas Shafer. He has been boxing since last year, I believe. I
Yeah,
was there at his debut. I think it was at NLC 34 35. Uh, People would argue that he is the most improved fighter of 2025. Um, so to start off this interview, do you want to go ahead and maybe recap your most recent fight? I believe it ended against, I think his name is Tanner Burnett. Do you want to break that down
yeah,
for us and tell us what happened from your point of view?
yeah. MMA debut made it in Charleston against Tanner Burnett. Very talented young man. Dude's a killer. Can't wait to see him go at it again. I went into that fight knowing he trained with J.R. Cochran and Josh Sullivan and those guys. So I knew he was going to be really tough. And I did a little bit of research on him, what I could, and I knew he was a. I figured he was a striker. He was not at all a striker. He was going in that there saying he was going to knock me out, and people were saying he was going to knock me out. So I figured he was going to stand with me. It's an MMA fight, so nothing's guaranteed. He did not stand with me. He took me down and worked my head like a ping pong ball there for a minute. And uh, I work out at Butch Isles, so I got a good bit of jujitsu. So in the second and the third round, I was able to get my guard back and work some offensive submissions, a bunch of arm bars. I was able to get the better positions there at the later rounds. I've got pretty decent cardio, I think. Always room for improvement, but I did have better cardio, I feel like. I was also a little bit more experienced. I had three fights over him at that point. He was making his debut. So uh, it was a draw. It was a good fight. I don't think, I've had a lot of people say that, oh, I think he won the round. Oh, I think you won. Um, whether or not, that's everyone's opinion. I think it was a good fight, and I think we earned a draw. We got fight of the night, so kudos to him. Um, we left it all out there, and I think it was a good fight.
Yeah, you mentioned briefly that you had a little bit more fight experience over him. You're what, 19 now, and you've got like what, three fights under your belt? That's more
Yeah.
than some people even see in their whole fight career. So, what would you say has motivated you to be so active? Like, are you wanting to grow in boxing? Just something that you enjoy doing and want to keep doing? What would you say your inspiration for going like you have is?
Well, my main aspiration is MMA. So when I do like boxing fights or kickboxing fights or grappling matches or whatever, it's like I don't really look at those like I gotta win this. I gotta. I go in like I want to see how I do so that I can see what I need to improve on. Really, it's my MMA fights I try to focus on because that's what I want to do. Boxing and kickboxing and whatnot is just to get me ready and experienced for those fights. So really, it's just plus I hang around a really active crowd. I train a lot with the Cali King, Edward Petway. He's an active dude. Fights on almost every card there
Yeah.
is. So it's hard not to be like, hey man, I think I might get on that card too. Um, he has fought on every single card I've fought on, and I've tried to be there. I've cornered him in a few fights, including his last boxing match we had in. Um, oh, I can't remember the place, but it was under a different fight promotion. I cornered him. We won that fight via TKO in the third. So and that's like my brother. We're not just training partners. Like me and Callie are really close. We're really close. Um, he's like a brother to me. So it's hard not to be active when he's around you, and he instills that mindset into me. And I'm around a lot of active guys. So that's one of the main things. And I started fighting, competing when I was 18. I was 18 when I fought Tristan Turner at New Line 35, and I like fighting too. I just like when I'm in there, I love it. Um, The only reason I do take the month and a half or 2 months breaks that I do is just so that I can improve on what I did wrong in my last fight or heal up. Because after I fought Tristan Turner, my brain needed a little bit of a break. It was a brawl, so it kind of I
Yeah, I
didn't
remember
want
that fight.
to. Yeah, um, and it's hard not to be active when you got the guys around that I do.
Yeah. Speaking of your debut, I mentioned this earlier too a little bit as well. You have lost quite a bit of weight since then. Between now and then, you almost look like two separate people. Do you like fighting at the heavier weight better, or do you prefer where you're at now, like at the skinnier weight? And do you plan on staying at a lower weight, or do you plan on fighting between weight classes?
I hate fighting heavy. I hated when I fought Tristan Turner. I was not in shape. I don't think I was ready for that fight. My coach said I was, but I don't think I was just because I wasn't training how I was supposed to. I said this in multiple interviews. I wasn't really ready. I wasn't doing conditioning like I should have, and I was fat. I was out of shape. I was not in any way, shape, or form ready for a like competitive fight. I was 195. My last fight, I weighed in at 168 for Tanner Burnett. I definitely prefer fighting smaller because I'm a lot more active. I can throw a lot more shots. I can move a lot more. My cardio is better. Um, I feel like I hit harder. It's probably not true, but I feel like I hit harder. I can stay a lot more technical for longer because my cardio is better. I'm faster on my feet, faster hand speeds, faster. I just feel better, and I feel lighter. I just feel like I feel better when I fight at this lighter weight class. And honestly, my plan is to when I first started fighting and training to fight my original plan was to go down to 185 and be there. At one point, that seemed like a dream because when I first started training, I was 265. I was right at 265 when I
Yeah,
first started training back in Elkview, and it seemed like a dream to get down to 185. Like it seemed impossible, and I didn't even have a chance to fight at 180. I fought a few cruiserweight boxing fights, and then I fought at 170 for Tanner. And honestly, I think my plan is now to get down to 155 for my MMA return. No idea who the opponent is going to be yet. I have a few ideas of who I want to fight. Um, Nothing confirmed or anything yet, but 155, hopefully. I would like to fight in Madison in kickboxing at 165. I've talked to Keith a little bit about it, and he's going to try to give me a fight at 165 for kickboxing. Um, I'm definitely going to try to slowly get lower and lower in weight because I don't belong in these big weight classes. These big guys that are like built like tree trunks. I'm just fat, so
yeah, man, I feel that. Um, you mentioned earlier that you had done some training with Butch Hiles. Is that your current main gym? And if not, what is your main gym? And do you cross train with other fighters in preparations for your fights, or do you strictly stick to like specific gyms and don't cross train?
so I got two gyms I cross train out of like every day of the week. I go to Butch Hiles most days, 5 day. I think right at 4 days out of the week, and then I go to the Concrete Coliseum with Eric Oden, Eli Adkins, and Chris Smith. My coach is down there, and it's really just uh, those guys I train with most part. I do cross train with some people different days. Some days people come down to the gym and I train with them. Devin Stanley, former New Line lightweight champion, um, undefeated MMA fighter. He comes by every once in a while. I don't really see him much anymore, unfortunately, but when I do, I train with him a lot. Um, and whenever guys come down to train with Chris, I try to hop in there and train with them. But as of like me and someone else just training, I don't really do that. I train at the gym. If someone comes by, sweet, we can get some work in. And I trained a little bit with JR when he's coming by. When I see him, I like to train with him a little bit. Um, yeah, it's mostly those two gyms I kind of stick with. It's those are for my family, so I stick with them.
Yeah. Who has been your toughest opponent in the ring so far? Or even if you want to say just in sparring, who is the toughest opponent you've had and what made them stand out to you as tougher than the other people that you fought?
I will say now, the hardest I've been hit in sparring actually happened yesterday. It was Eric Oden. He hit me with a body shot, and I don't remember it. That's like he hit me, and my
God.
soul left my body. It was horrible. I just wanted to put that out there. That literally happened like last night. I'm. It was horrible. But the hardest opponent. I've had a lot of tough guys, man. Um, I pride myself in the fact that I've only fought literal killers. Tristan Turner, that was a crazy fight. Fight of the night. It was a really good fight, really hard fight. And that was probably, I want to say that was like the toughest mentally at the time because I wasn't ready for that fight. I wasn't, it was my debut and I had to pull myself into another level in that like 6 minutes to find out how to, I don't know what happened, but I had to like create a version of myself that would not just stay down. I got knocked down 3 times, had to get it back up every single time, and it was hard. So I'd say at the time, mentally, that was probably the hardest. Um, and that's not to say that like it's really hard because like Tanner was a really hard fight too because like I had to get myself up every time after that round. Um, And I mean Tyson Jarrett, he was. I'd say my toughest was probably Tristan, just because of the circumstances leading up to it. Where I was mentally at that time, I wasn't mentally ready. I wasn't physically ready. What I had to do, that was probably my toughest fight. I'd say.
Yeah. So I guess maybe I should have asked this sooner, maybe not. What was the inspiration for you that got you into wanting to be a boxer or a mixed martial artist, or just what what drove you to want to compete in combat sports in general? Because it seems like each fighter has their own personal reason, and usually always different. Like, okay, some people will say it's just for health reasons or stuff like that, but there's usually also a deep down personal reason that brought people into wanting to become a combat sport competitor.
Yeah, there is a reason. Like when I started training when I was like 16, I think. And I was living with my mom, and my there was a lot of physical reasons I wanted to start training. I really liked the sport as well. That was another thing. But the main reason I like legitimately started training was my mom was around a lot of sketchy dudes at the time, and I wanted to protect her. And that there's a lot of things behind that, but that was one of the main reasons I wanted to be able to protect my family if I needed to, and that ended up backfiring on me. But that's a bunch of personal stuff that there's a lot of layers to it. But I'll just say I wanted to protect my family and be able to protect myself if needed to, and yeah, it's not like I want at the when I first started training, I didn't really want to compete. I just wanted to like be somewhat in shape and be able to protect my family if I needed to, protect myself if I needed to, because I was bullied as a kid as well. Like I was bullied like crazy in school. So I said, you know what? If I get bullied, I want to be able to protect myself, stand up for myself. I want that confidence. And I saw I was just starting to get into the UFC and watch like all these MMA fights and boxing fights, and I was like, those guys are so confident. How can they be so confident? So I said, you know what? I want that level of confidence. And it just so happened that a buddy of mine in school, Christian Grace, shout out to him, man. He was training. He had been training for a few years, and he told me that a kickboxing place had opened up like right across from where I lived. So I started training there with Chris Smith. And that's just how it started. I started training there, and it kind of escalated.
Yeah. Uh, so I guess this, given the things that you've just said, and also the things that are just were already public, like I said, like the weight loss journey, and also the fact that you're so young and also being mostly successful for yourself in your fight career, what advice you have for people who, let's say, maybe younger people that don't think they're capable, or people that are overweight and don't think that they can lose the weight, or just anyone with, let's say, personal confidence or personal image issues in general? What advice would you have for people like that to maybe help get them on the right to start getting better, or where can they start to pick up the pieces of themselves? Because some people just don't know where to even start at.
I would say, man, just like consistency and time. Just give everything time. Because, I mean, I still struggle with myself a little bit. I still I wake up some days, I'm like, man, I'm fat. But reality is, I've lost almost 100 pounds since I started. I'm not fat. Like, you just got to like pick a day, start working out, and just continue. Like, no matter what you feel that day. And, there's been days I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't want to work out. I go work out anyways because like I ain't got nothing else to do most of the part. I'm young, so that's another thing that really helps me to work out every day. Is like I ain't got nothing else to do. What else am I gonna do? Stay home and play video games? Like, nah, I can't do that. And eh, I struggled. I've had my own struggles like throughout the years and whatnot, but you're gonna fall. But as long as you can bring yourself back up and pick yourself back up, you're good. You just gotta pick yourself up. The righteous man falls 7 times, picks himself back up every time. I think
Yeah.
it's something like that. I probably butchered that, but you get the gist. Like you just pick yourself back up. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. It just matters how many times you pick yourself back up, put on your bootstraps, and just continue. That's the biggest thing. Like you gotta. And I mean, as of my record, I'm 1-2-1. My record sucks, but I'm gonna continue training. I'm gonna continue fighting because that's what I'm a fighter. That's what I do. I'm gonna continue because eventually I want to be pro. I want to do this for a living. This is I love it. No matter how many times I lose, no matter how many times I win, I love this. This is one of the greatest sports in the world. I think it's the greatest sport in the world, and it's hard. But if it was easy, everyone would do it. I take pride
Yeah,
in
for
the fact
sure.
that I do one of the hardest sports in the world, and I'm not going to quit just because I lose a few times. Or I mean, my my third fight, I went up against a guy that had like he was undefeated in sanctioned fights. Tyson Jarrett was, I think, 3-0 in sanctioned fights. He had a bunch of tough man fights, sure, but he was undefeated in sanctioned fights. He was either 3-0, 2-0, something like that. And I went in there like I was going to beat him. I didn't beat him, but whatever. Just pick yourself up.
It's just being resilient and not giving up. That's what it seems like to me as well. Um, well, like such as yourself, I feel like you have a lot to offer, especially if you're young and up and coming too, because there's a lot of people around your age and maybe even a little bit younger that are definitely aspiring to be fighters, and some of them will do it, some of them may not. Um, to into something that I was wanting to ask, for people that are debating on going to gyms and stuff. I've noticed a lot of people are afraid that gym culture and stuff, people will be mental to people that are not quite as skilled, or like if someone who is quite overweight to start going to a gym to get better. Do you feel like people will be judgmental towards people like that?
I mean, at least in the gyms I've been to, I've never met someone that like made fun of me because I was fat. Like, of course, my buddies will like, they'll bump my shoulder, like, what you doing, big boy? Like they'll mess with me like that. But as of people I don't know, I've never been to a gym where people just start laughing at me because I was overweight or because at the end of the day, if you're in the gym, you're trying to lose that. You're not trying to stay that way. The only people, I mean, I don't laugh at anyone because I've been there, done that. Like whatever it is, struggle wise, I've probably been through that. Like I've been through a lot of struggle in my life, but I don't sit and cry about it because that's not going to do nothing. I say, you know what, this
Yeah.
sucks. How do I improve on this? I was 260. I said, you know what, this sucks. I don't like being this weight. how do I improve on this? Kickboxing place opens up, door opens. And, door closes, a window will open. Like, opportunities will be given to you. Take them. Take the opportunities you are given and do what you can with them. If, you lose something
Yeah.
or a gym closes, you got cans in your pantry, go start lifting them. That's how I started training. Like right before the kickboxing place opened up, I really, really wanted to start working out. Had no idea where to begin. I went in my closet, picked up a couple cans of peas, and I just started lifting them every day. It did nothing essentially for my like overall training, but it's something. Like that's where you start getting mentally ready because this sport is probably 90% mental. Like it's not really much physical. It's it's mostly mental. And if you can mentally prepare yourself and get ready, you got to callous your mind. And yeah, it's just picking. You got to be resilient. Like, and you're not like automatically going to be as tough as David Goggins, but you got to like give yourself those little wins. If you say, okay, I'm gonna fast today, and you go and you start eating out of your pantry, that's a loss. You got to start somewhere small and work your way up. I started saying, okay, especially for the build up to the fight with Tanner, I was probably 180 when I took that fight with Tanner, and I was not in shape at that. Like when I took the fight, I had to be 170, and I was like, man, that's 10 pounds. And in the like making weight category, that's not a lot of weight. It's just 10 pounds. Like you can cut that in a day. For me, I was like, oh my, I'm going to struggle with this. This sucks because I had never been down below 180.
Yeah.
Well, I told myself, okay, I'm going to fast at night. Like after I do my training, I'm not going to eat anything. And then I'll wake up the next morning and eat a big breakfast so it fuels me through the day. That was hard, but I did it. And I ended up going below 170. I made weight at 168. You got to callous your mind with the small stuff so that you can work your way up to the big stuff, like running fucking 30 miles in the snow and shit. Like, you're not going to be able to just do that. You got to work yourself up to it.
Yeah. Um, so I've got maybe one or two more questions before we kind of start to close out. My, I don't know if this will be the last one or not, but one of the main questions I have is what future plans do you have for fighting specifically this year? Are you going to be in New Line? Do you plan to venture out to other promotions? And do you plan to be mostly active, or is this going to be a year where like you take a fight, then train for a couple months, then other? What is this going to look like for you this year?
I'd definitely like to be more active this year. My plan is for my return at least, Madison in May. I'd like to kickbox someone at 165. I don't care who it
I'll
is.
be
I
on
just
that
want to
card.
fight someone. Yeah, I mean, I really want to fight because, like, last time I was in Madison, I got fight of the night. I lost horribly, but hey, I want to, I want to get fight of the night again. Shit, I also want to win, but it's like, I want to be active. Um, it just determines on how my fights turn out. Like if it's I don't take really much damage because I want to make this as long term as possible. When you take a bunch of damage and then you go fight next week, it's not ideal. Like it's not very good. It's not
Yeah.
good for your brain, um, especially when you're getting suspended. So I'm not gonna say like I'm going to be fighting every month, but ideally I'd like to fight every other month at the very least. Um, Kickboxing, boxing, any grappling, I don't care. I would like to make my MMA return specifically probably towards the middle or the end of the year, just because I do need to work on the grappling aspect a little bit, takedown defense, that kind of stuff. So I'll be training that. But as of like activity period, I'd like to fight every other month. For New Line specifically, I do like fighting for New Line. New Line is an amazing promotion. I love it. Um, I'm not opposed to fighting for anyone else, but I don't see anything coming up with anyone else. So as of now, my plan is for New Line. I'd like to fight for him, continue to fight for him. Um, yeah.
Good. That's what. I plan on debuting in May, and if as long as I don't do horribly, I plan on trying to continue for more matches. I was going to try to do a match in March, but then I ended up breaking my hand and I couldn't do it. So, I guess before we close off, because I've mostly discussed all the topics that I had and stuff, do you have any specific people? It doesn't have to just be fighters. Do you have anyone, maybe like parents, cousins, significant others, friends, that you would like to do for supporting you in this journey? Do you have any businesses that you want to sponsoring you, or do you have any call outs for anyone that you've seen that you would like to fight? Not even just this, just do you have anyone specific that you want to match up with in the ring? Anything like that before we close out?
No, I want to just thank my all my fans, my family that comes and supports me. No one specifically. My family, my cousins, my aunts. I know a lot of people came out to support me for my last fight, and I know I didn't really win, but it's whatever. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out. No one to really call out because like I don't have anyone on my agenda. Um, I know Nicholas Lyons has been texting me trying to see about fighting me. We'll see where that goes. I'd like to fight him, but in MMA because he's been wanting to try to fight me in MMA, and I'm open to it. But he's got like 15 MMA fights. I'm one MMA fight in, so he's definitely got a lot more experience than me, and I got to see what my coaches say about it. But I'd like to fight him, but like I said, if it's MMA, it's probably going to be like middle or the end of the year. If I do, I'd like to get a few more boxing and kickboxing fights, maybe a grappling match. I was supposed to grapple tomorrow, but apparently they canceled that card, so I'm not going to be doing that. But I'd like to get a little bit more experience before I go in MMA again. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't care who you are. I'm open to fighting you as long as because I run everything by my coaches, just because they know what's best. So as long as it's cool with my coaches, I'll fight anyone. I don't care who it is, what they've done. Um, I'm open to fighting anyone.
Yeah, that that's the right mentality for someone to have. A lot of people like, okay, a lot of people won't hardly fight anyone. Think they can beat them, but in my opinion, that's not really any way to grow as a fighter. Um, I don't I don't think I really have much more that I have to discuss. But if you have any closing statements, you can go ahead and make them. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on and do the show with me. If you have any that you want me to shout out, or any events coming up or anything like that that you want me to add into the video, you can send me a message on Facebook and I'll plug it at the end for you, because I usually plug my sponsors at the end. Um, unless you have any other closing statements, I'm going to go ahead and close it off. But
I
you
appreciate you
have
for
anything
having me.
to say?
It was a good interview. I've been trying to get people to interview me. No one will do it. Everyone keeps on canceling on me. So, thank you for having me.
I'll do an interview anytime. Like if you want to ever do pre-fights, post-fights, I will interview anyone who wants to. Just usually need about a day in advance, so because I'm mostly busy. But want to get back on here and do another like a upcoming interview, just let me know and we can do it.
All right, sounds good, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming on. And this was Lucas Shafer interview, and I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. Thank you again.